Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. Before we begin, para todas las promotoras que necesitan traducción, allá atrás hay equipo de traducción si necesitan ir a agarrar uno. Ahorita es el momento, por favor, vayan allá atrás con Aurora, busquen a Aurora y ella les va a decir dónde está. Allá mero atrás en la pared, ¿ok? Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, members, to our third annual meeting. And oh my God, it's so exciting. We are deeply honored and grateful for your presence here today in person and online. For those that we cannot see, but we can feel you. Yes. You all are our members. You are the heart of our organization, and we are thrilled that you are here with us at our annual meeting in Austin, Texas. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Texas, for allowing us to be here. Today, we will share highlights of our work this past year and hear from our board candidates and vote for new board members. This is so exciting to see it happen. I am going to briefly outline the agenda for today. Today, you will hear from Wandy Hernandez, NACHW's board chair, who will call the meeting to order. Our treasurer, Jeff Wilkinson, will present the financial report for fiscal year 23. Next, we will hear from our executive director, Denise Smith. And right before lunch, we'll show the candidate videos. And then you will have 1 hour for lunch. Boxed lunches will be served in this room. After lunch, Wandy will share some reflections followed by nominating committee and candidate panel. So be ready for that. That's so exciting. After that, Paige Mankin will kick off voting, and Wandy will close out the meeting after voting is launched. Voting for candidates will be from 4 to 6 p.m. Central. And with that, we will come, and NACHW's board, Wandy Hernandez, will close the meeting. And I forgot one really important thing. I forgot to tell you who I am. Hi, everyone. I'm Floribella Redondo Martinez. I am the treasurer for the NACHW board, and I'm secretary. Sorry, he's a treasurer. So I'm the secretary for the NACHW board, and I'm so thrilled to be here. And I'm so happy that you're all here today with us. Thank you. With that, Wandy.
Hello, es mañana, good morning, or buenas tardes, good afternoon, as you guys can see. How's everyone doing today? Good? So grateful to be here. God is good. Yes, a very long time indeed. And so, hello and greetings. This is our 4th annual meeting. And this is so exciting. To be able to realize our growth, to see our continuation and expansion is truly a blessing. Welcome and thank you for being here. I am, once again, Wandy Hernandez, and I have the privilege of serving as your chairwoman for the National Association of Community Health Workers. And I bring you greetings. And I bring you greetings on behalf of the board of directors. It is a joy to see you in person at this annual business meeting. It was exciting to see your registration come into the office, but to realize your presence makes our work worthwhile. I would like to share a quote by Dr. Dorothy Heights. Without service, we would not have a strong quality of life. It's important to the person who serves as well as the recipient. It is the way in which we ourselves grow and develop. And this quote resembles who we are as a workforce as we continue to work hard to serve our respective communities. Our opportunities have come with a big one, coming out of the needs and crises caused by the pandemic, the COVID-19. Our opportunities have unveiled us to the pathway to serve that we have had a venue of reaching but have successfully maneuvered through. We have had a good year since we saw you last. In this business meeting, we will share some of the work and successes we've had. We also invite you to go to our website to see our current 21-member board of directors, our officers, and many other resources. Our times designed for fellowship, building, and commodity. Of course, it is also a time for our learning, gaining new informations and techniques, and coming together as one. A time for developing new skills. The staff of the National Community Health Workers the staff of the National Community Health Workers has worked really hard to build a conference that will be beneficial to all of us. The agenda is probably in your hands, hopefully. So I don't have to try to tell what's in it or what's coming in. So I'll go back to the business at hand, which is the annual meeting. As you know, this is once again, the annual meeting for the National Association of Community Health Workers. It is also time for us to come together and to really break bread, to educate, to really see ourselves as who we are. You know, we are the community that we serve. We actually come together here and we really want to make sure that not only our voices are heard, but also the people who we represent. And that's the reason why NACHW exists today, for you all. So I would like to give you all a warm welcome. And really, I thank you on behalf of NACHW for actually being here and really seeing us as someone that is here for you, can support you and guide you through whatever challenges you may face in your respective states. So thank you so much. And as your chairwoman, I officially call this meeting to order. And now I will turn it over to NACHW's treasurer, Jeff Wilkinson. Thank you, and once again, welcome.
Thank you, Wandy. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. There are already hundreds of us in this room. It's phenomenal. I wish you could all have the perspective that we have from this stage. And welcome to all of our members who are participating online. As you've heard, I'm Jeff Wilkinson, the board treasurer. Very honored to be one of the founding board members. My role now is to share with you the financial state of the organization, and I'm very proud and pleased to tell you that our financial health is strong. I'm going to do four things with this very brief presentation. First, I want to provide just a little bit of contextual information so that you have a way to understand the importance of the numbers that I will then share. I'm going to share our budget performance over the last fiscal year, the financial year of reckoning. I'll share some details about the budget that the board just recently approved for the year we have entered. And I'll close with some brief thoughts and thanks. So in terms of an organizational overview, let me first ask, how many of you were at the NACHW meeting in 2019 in Las Vegas? Oh, many of you, so that's fabulous. And some of you know that then that was the first kind of founding meeting for NACHW, coming very shortly after our organizational incorporation in March of 2019. We earned federal IRS recognition as a tax-exempt nonprofit 501c3 organization in July of 2019. And we had the great pleasure of hiring Denise Smith, our phenomenal executive director, in November of 2019, less than 4 years ago. So this is still a very young organization, a national organization, a powerful organization, but a young organization. And our staff has grown from Denise and consultant administrative assistant that we had. I've just got to call out Nina Schultz, just phenomenal. That was our staff less than 4 years ago, and now we have over 10 full-time staff and multiple consultants, and we are still growing. Our revenue has grown from less than $500,000 to over $4 million in 3.5 years. When we talk about NACHW's finances, we talk in terms of fiscal years. Those of you involved with other nonprofits, that'll be familiar to you. It's the date of reckoning. When do we start a budget? When do we end a budget? When do we start reports, end reports? So for NACHW, our fiscal year begins on July 1 every year, runs through June 30th the following year. And each fiscal year takes its name from the year in which it ends. So we just ended fiscal year 2023. I'll talk about that in terms of fiscal 23. And we have just begun our fiscal year 2024, or fiscal 24, and that began on July 1. I think it's also important for you to understand that while we are an independent organization, an independent 501c3, we contract with a national nonprofit based in Boston called Health Resources in Action, or HRIA, which is a much larger organization. It's one of the affiliates of the National Network of Public Health Institutes. They do a lot of consulting and organizational support for organizations around the country, including ours. So Denise and our staff are technically HRIA employees, and that prevents us from spending a lot of money and a lot of trouble on personnel management, HR management, and Denise and the staff are able to take advantage of a very rich package of employee benefits, and we get fiscal services at very good rates. We will be looking at, and the board is looking at, moving to full organizational independence within the next few years. But I think that's important for you to recognize as you're going to hear HRIA mentioned in some of these other slides. Okay, now a dense, perhaps boring slide. I'm not going through the details. I'm not reading all of these numbers, but I want you to know that in the fiscal year that just ended, our revenue so far exceeded expenses by $1.7 million. Now, that doesn't mean that we banked all that and have it as profit. A lot of that revenue was advanced payments on contracts and services that we will be providing in the year that has just begun. But the point is that we've done very well. It's also important to point out that we normally get our financial reports from HRIA 30 to 60 days after the end of whatever reporting period we're talking about. So the most recent information I had to work with for this report on fiscal 23 was as of the end of May. It's not a complete fiscal year. And these numbers will change, and the board will take a look at reckoning with the actual performance through the end of June. But suffice to say that we did very well. And kudos to Denise particularly, and to our staff and partners, and I'll say more about that in a moment. I want to also briefly summarize the fiscal 24 budget that the board approved for this year beginning. And again, you can see that we're planning on operating in the black by close to $500,000. That number will increase when the board revises the fiscal 24 budget in the fall. That will be necessary because Denise just announced to us that after adoption of this budget, she had secured another $500,000 contract from one of our funding partners and another one in the offing. So our revenue picture is expanding significantly, even from what you see here. And we will operate in the black, and we will have the money that it takes to do the tremendous work that NACHW is doing. I'd like to show you the revenue and expenses in a different format. This is perhaps more useful and helpful to recognize that if you look at the revenue side on the left as you're viewing it, about half of the money that we take in is for contracted services. So we have federal partners and corporate partners who turn to NACHW for research and for services, trainings, and a variety of activities that Denise will describe in more detail. But that accounts for about half of our revenue. The Unity Conference is a very significant undertaking. This is almost $1 million operation, what we're participating in. And so you see that reflected in both the revenue and expense side. We also get a lot of foundation grants. And our membership dues this year will exceed $85,000. We're pushing $100,000 as our membership increases. We have over 3,000 individual members and growing. Our expenses for the coming year, similarly, over half of the money that we spend is for our employees and consultants. You see personnel accounts for 49%. Those are the actual HRIA employees. We also contract with a number of consultants to do this phenomenal work. So that's where most of the money is going. And again, you can see close to a quarter of the budget is currently reflected in Unity expenses. Let me close with some brief thoughts. First of all, as I noted, the board will be revising the fiscal 2024 budget in the next couple of months, and that will reflect the increased revenue and the corresponding additional expenses that will come with new obligations and opportunities that we have through our contracted services. We have had amazing organizational growth, amazing revenue, and that is primarily due to the partnerships and the trusting relationships that Denise has built with numerous partners in government, in corporations, in foundations. And I cannot overstate the power and the importance of the work that she has done individually and that she leads with our phenomenal staff. So thank you, Denise. Thank you to our staff. Thank you to our funding partners in the private and public sectors. You are part of history making, and the work that we're doing reflected in these numbers is changing communities and changing community health. I want to thank my partners, Mwandi particularly for your leadership, all of my board colleagues. We've been through quite a lot together over these years. It's with very mixed emotions that we move on, but with a lot of confidence in the board that you will be electing and it will be continuing. And I want to thank Paige Menking, who is going to be continuing as treasurer. Where are you, Paige? I saw you. There you are. So finances from the board perspective are going to continue to be in good hands, arguably better hands than they've been in. And I just want to say, too, that there are a lot of challenges facing us, and not least of which is sustaining this growth and sustaining this work in a context of uncertain political and fiscal and policy environment. We've got national elections coming on, and I think one of the things that Denise has been brilliant about is positioning the organization even with all these changes. So that will continue, and that work will involve all of us in our respective states and communities. With that, I want to thank you very much. This is my closing remarks as treasurer, and it's my great honor, my singular privilege to introduce to you now our phenomenal executive director, Denise Smith.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello. If you've ever been on a Zoom call with me, you know that once you start logging in, I start scrolling through the pages so I can give shout outs to folks. I can barely even see y'all because there are so many of you and because these lights are so bright. But I am grateful, blessed, and very, very honored to be here. Listen, you ought to know that my staff made sure that I brought slides because I come from a long-winded family and I love a good microphone. So I am going to move through my slides for today. Let me just say a couple of things before we get started. You'll see me take these on and off. First, I just want to say that we have in the room right now membership from over 45 states. Also, Puerto Rico is in the house. The Virgin Islands are in the house. And we have community health representatives from the Navajo Nation, from the Hualapai, from the Cherokee, from the Eastern Aleutian, the Salt Tribe of the Chippewa, and the White Mountain Apache. And we are so grateful that our First Nations are here. We are visitors here, and thank you for your hospitality. Let me also ask you to please stand and welcome with me Chief Michelle Mitchum of the Pine Hill Tribe, the first people of the Fort Jackson area, formerly known as the Kofatachiki, Confari, and Wateree. Welcome, Chief Michelle Mitchum. We are among dignitaries, y'all, and we need to celebrate. We are grateful for your presence. A little side note, I think he's kind of special. My husband's also in the building, and I am so grateful that Antoine Smith is with me. He won't stand. He won't stand. You also don't want him to get on the mic, so we're in the family. Listen, let's take a moment, please, if you wouldn't mind. Just close your eyes for a minute. I want to acknowledge that we are truly meeting on holy and sacred ground on the indigenous lands that many refer to as Turtle Island, the ancestral name for what many of us now call the USA or North America. Battles were fought here, lives were lost here, land was taken here. Enslaved Africans were brought here. I actually just found out that I do believe the Gross family name from my father's line were enslaved Africans brought to Tejas, here where we are right now. I'd also like to take a moment and acknowledge other tribes and nations here in what was formerly known as Tejas. The Alabama Coshata, the Caddo, Carrizo, Comecrudo, Coahuiteclan, Comanche, Kickapoo, the Lipan Apache, Tonkawa, Isleta del Sur Pueblo, and all of the American Indian and indigenous peoples, tribes, nations, and communities who have been or have become a part of these lands and territories in Texas. We are visitors here. Thank you for that moment. So with the remaining time that I have, I'm going to do in a similar manner as Jeff. I'm going to sort of go back to go forward. This is a momentous occasion because we are in one another's company, in breathing the same air. And so I just want to take us back just a couple of years. You may or may not have been able to make all of the annual meetings. I just want to highlight, with just a few minutes, some of the things that we've been able to accomplish together. Let's hope it's the big green button. It is. Can we take a moment and celebrate our founders? Founders, could you please stand? Please stand. The founders gave us the vision. Please celebrate the founders. The founders gave us the vision. After organizing for many years across the United States to unify nationally across race, ethnicity, geography, gender, sector, and lived experience so that we could support our communities to achieve health, equity, and social justice. Could you celebrate the 2023 FY23 Board of Directors? Board, if you are here, please stand. The Board of Directors has entrusted me and by extension connected to you. They believe in you as much as they believe in me. They care about you as much as they care about me and are working tirelessly and for free to advance this profession. I also want to celebrate the co-chairs of all of our committees, and you may not know that we have an executive committee represented here and with a few additional board members, the policy committee, the nominations committee, the workforce development committee, and the development committee. And we have a new committee sort of coming back with full force, the ambassador committee. Could you just take a moment and celebrate the co-chairs? The co-chairs help the staff extend across the country to do deep tissue work in these focus areas. The staff of the National Association of Community Health Workers. They may not want to be seen, but you are felt at this moment. Please stand if you are in the room and in the building. And we have added to the staff that you see here, Marlene Rivera to my right, Marlis Vaughn, who is back in Boston working online on our behalf. And there's one other person. Yes, Catherine Martinez, one of the newest members from Boston as well. Would you celebrate the NACHW staff? We have another celebration. There are not many organizations who in their foundation have values that they manifest. A lot of people have values. It's on their website, it's on their mission statement, it's on their materials. But few organizations are striving to realize and manifest those values. For community health workers, promotores or promotoras de salud, community health representatives from tribal or indigenous nations, aunties, uncles, peers, outreach workers, one of the 97 different titles that we were able to identify in our workforce. These are the values that guide the work of this organization. So when you see us operating outside of these values, it will be very easy for you to look to one of the staff or board members and bring us back to our foundation. I have little time to be with you. I told you that I'm a long-winded individual. Listen, when I came in November 2019, I told people that I felt like I was going to sort of be like Moses on the backside of the desert. I was operating in a 6x8 room in my home, and I thought, how am I going to generate members? How am I going to let people know that I exist? One of the first things that was already in the works by a number of our board members was this document, a collaboration between NACHW and the Association of State and Territorial Health Officials. Many of you have seen it. In it, it summarizes 6 decades of evidence of effectiveness of community health workers, promotores, and many other different work titles. This has been a foundational document, and I offer it to you because as you see our pillars here, and you'll hear more about them at the Unity Conference, one of the things that we center is that we are historic, we are diverse, we are proven. We don't need any more research to confirm our effectiveness. One of the second things that we did by April, March of 2020, and Betsy Rodriguez is in the house, she remembers, we began speaking in March of 2020, was the ensuing global pandemic. And it was a very simple one-page document that NACHW put together with 3 specific things that we wanted to communicate to every organization, public or private, about CHWs. Number 1, we wanted people to classify our workforce as an essential, critical workforce during the pandemic to protect us and to pay us to respond to the pandemic. Number 2, we wanted to mobilize funding to scale the networks, associations, alliances, and coalitions so that they could levy their expertise and bring it forward for COVID response. Number 3, we wanted CHWs. Certified or non-certified, promotora or CHR, auntie or outreach worker, to be recognized as leaders at their local, state level, and nationally as they innovate to respond to the pandemic. The National Association also helped to co-found 2 national organizations, which I won't labor to speak about, but you may have heard about them: the Community-Based Workforce Alliance and the Vaccine Equity Cooperative. If you go to the NACHW table, you can get more information about that work. You may have also recognized that even in the midst of COVID-19, NACHW had sustainability in mind. And I want to give a special shout out to Carl Rush. He may be in the building. I just have not seen him. Carl, hello, how are you? Without Carl's leadership across the country, but specifically in NACHW, we would not have the Sustainable Financing Report for community health worker employment. I bet there's not a state in this room who has not referred to this report. And the good news is that Carl and others have been working on an update of that report, so you'll find in the exhibit hall that information. But also the largest one-stop shop for you to find policy documents about community health workers, state policy documents to help guide, respect, protection, and authentic partnership with the workforce. So thank you, Carl, for all the work that you've done. My time is running out, but I just want you to understand that in these last 3 years of the COVID-19 pandemic, community health workers were coming to us from across the country, but in particular from Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Native Hawaiian communities, Asian and Southeast Asian, and helped NACHW to create resources and also to support the AAPI hate campaign. We were able to reach over 4,000 community health workers across the country so that they could ally and be good partners in the midst of violence of all kinds in their communities. We also took our national data, and with recognition that some communities are silenced, we pulled from our national data and brought forward the history of community health representatives and indigenous nations' impact on the National Association of Community Health Workers. From our founding, we have had representation from the Laguna Pueblo, from the Navajo Nation, from Hawaiian nations. We are diverse in our board. We always have been, and we always will be. Oh, my time is so short. Also, with your help, we were able in February of 2021, and many of you responded to a survey, hundreds of you, to help develop this national CHW policy platform, the first ever in the United States, to advance respect, protection, and authentic partnership with community health workers and with our organizations. Hello, a vision of change. I couldn't miss the opportunity to say hello. And just this spring, we brought down diverse organizations, diverse CHWs across the spectrum down and conducted our first Hill visit. We will repeat it. We met with D's and R's. We met with folks on the coast and the interior. We are unifying to advance our profession at the highest level. And we've got some great news we're going to share with you tomorrow on that. Some amazing news. These are some of the folks who are asking us to come and speak, and without your contribution, every time you answer a survey, every time you email us, every time you come to a webinar and respond to a poll, please do not think, there's a scripture that says, don't discount small beginnings. Every time you respond, your voice makes us better. And so we've been all over the country. I've been to the White House 3 times this year, and you have had my back, and I'm grateful for it. None of this happens without the awareness, support, and expertise of our members. And if you haven't heard of some of the things that I've spoken about, first of all, make sure you are getting the free newsletter. That's the first thing I want to say. If you're not aware of your benefits, attend a free membership webinar so that you can hold us accountable, okay? We are a young organization, but we are striving to be relevant and supportive of what you do. We've grown by over 100% of our membership. We are in all 50 states right now, and we hope that by tomorrow all 50 states are represented. This is very, very exciting. Wisconsin was holding out for a long time. A long time. So Wisconsin, I know you're in the building. Thank you. Over 6,000 event attendees for our webinars. These are some of the webinars that people love the most. The Unity Conference, past, present, and future that our board helped to lead. Our webinars on self-compassion and our Data for Action series. So we thank you for attending. If you are with us on social media, Instagram has grown by over 300%. Facebook, almost 200%. Okay, your impressions, your engagements, help us connect with you. I was blowing up everybody's page right before Unity. I'm like, yeah, you know, I had to wait on some of you to approve me too. What's up with that? You know, but you finally let me in. I want to acknowledge there are some other things that we are learning as I close. Back in 2020, and you see the names of our board and our founding ambassadors here, we also were learning about the stress and the burden and the challenge, the disconnectedness, the anxiety that people were feeling during the early months of COVID-19. Big shout out to all of the ambassadors who helped us elevate that story. Many of our stories have not been told, but we have experts on the board and in our community that help lift that up. This past fall, I went down to the White House when they called NACHW to join a conference on hunger, nutrition, and health. We put out a survey 3 days before I went down, and hundreds of you responded. We found out that 1/3 of all the CHW respondents answered yes to at least 3 questions on a 6-question USDA scale, saying that they were food insecure. And 9.5% of CHWs answered yes to all 6 questions. We are not being paid an equitable wage. I met promotoras at the border who are getting $9 an hour for this work. This organization will respond. We will advocate. We will make sure that your stories and your voices are heard. We want pay equity for CHWs. We want your benefits. We want your retirement and everything else that every other profession receives. Oh, I guess I must have reordered that. We've also had over 200,000 visits to our webpage. Listen, I put on your table as I close 2 things. One, I gave you samplings of our national data, some in English and some in Spanish. There are QR codes. You can scan those and you can download all 11 infographics to learn more about the national data that we've collected and how you can use the data for action. But very recently, we put out another survey around CHW's experiences with the unwinding of the public health emergency. And I'll close with this. I may be over my time, and I really apologize. But let me just close with this. Many of you have heard me say, is this a moment or is this the movement? Now, my founding board, when they came to me, Wandy Hernandez said to me, I will never forget, standing outside, it was my husband's birthday, getting ready to eat dinner. She called me to tell me that I had accepted the position, and she said, let's make history. She didn't say build an organization. She said, let's make history. She didn't just say you got the job. She said, let's make history. The challenges that we are experiencing, we are survivors and thrivers. We are those living in poverty. We are those from the reentry community. We are those who have experienced homelessness. We are those who are survivors of chronic disease. We are those who have experienced racism. And for some reason, we were called to go back into those same communities and draw people out. This is the movement. The National Association of Community Health Workers is ready for the movement, and we cannot do it without you. You cannot do it. We cannot do it without you. You may be tired. You may not be acknowledged, respected in your organization, in your community, but we need you. You may not be paid a thriving wage. You may not be getting all of the benefits, but we need you. You may be watching people die in your community or get evicted. It breaks your heart, but we need you. You may be separated in your states by race or ethnicity or sector or gender, but we need your unity in this moment. And unified, we will go wherever we are needed to advance community health workers. I love each and every one of you. Please, I pray that you feel the love of our family, of our community, and we pray that all is well with you. I'll see you tomorrow at the Unity Conference.
We love Denise. Thank you, Denise. Thank you for that message. And like I mentioned before, now we were going to be seeing some videos of our nominees, our candidates for the board. We have 8 candidates, and we'll be seeing the videos. And after the videos, I'm going to ask the candidates if they're in the room, if they can please stand up so you can start recognizing them and approaching them during lunch and get a little bit of more to getting to know them and what they bring to the board, what they're excited to bring. And I think we're all excited. I know that we 3 are kind of excited, but also it's bittersweet. It's been awesome to be here, but also it's our last meeting as board members. Well, we're looking forward to see who's going to be the next board of directors. Yeah. So can we have the videos? Do we have the videos?
Aloha, my name is Claudia Hartz, and I am from Hawaii. I am a CHW, and the strengths that I would bring to the board are communication, empathy, and determination. Love listening to the CHWs and our challenges, not just here on Hawaii Island, but across our nation. As a CHW myself, I'm able to empathize with the challenges that CHWs face. And determination. I'm determined to highlight CHWs together, build that strong unity. Thank you.
Hi, all. My name is Julie St. John, and I live in West Texas. I'm honored to be a NACHW board candidate. My strengths are my knowledge and experience of working alongside community health workers for over 20 years in community engagement, training, research, advocacy, policy, and leadership development. I'm creative, solution-oriented, organized, ethical, and community-focused. My skills and experiences will help me work collaboratively with NACHW colleagues and members to advance the CHW workforce nationally. Thank you for your consideration of me as a NACHW board member.
I'm Yanelle Powell, and I am a community health worker from the state of Delaware. I currently work as a workforce development committee member, as well as being a newly selected ambassador. I would like to move to the next step with the NACHW, and that is to be a new member of the board of directors. I look forward to working alongside community health workers with professional development, career advancement, and most importantly, self-care. Thank you. Vote for Yanelle Powell for your next board of directors.
Hello, my name is Anna Huff Davis. I bring you greetings from the great state of Arkansas, where I serve as a community health worker. What do I bring to the board? I bring my experience as a community health worker for over 2 decades. I have served on numerous boards where I have been able to learn how to conduct myself as a board member. I have been trained, and I would bring that training and that knowledge with me to hopefully serve in an effective capacity as a member.
Hi, my name is Carrie Frazier. I'm a highly skilled CHW with over 10 years of experience serving Indiana in both frontline and executive leadership roles. Thanks to my outstanding leadership skills, I can anticipate and plan for the future needs of CHWs. I motivate my team to achieve what may seem impossible with my drive, determination, and openness to new and innovative strategies. My goal is to provide effective professional development strategies for the workforce.
Hi, my name is Joanne Callista. I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm a CHW ally, although always a CHW in my heart, family, and community. I commit to working with you to support CHW leadership and autonomy, and in working together to fight all forms of oppression. I bring experience in policy, direct care work, and supervision. Perhaps what I bring the most is a commitment to the field, and also the ability to identify new opportunities and work across communities and sectors. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Seelig, and I'm a physician ally of CHWs and of NACHW, and I'm honored to be able to run for a board position with NACHW. My particular interest is thinking about how to best integrate CHWs into interprofessional care teams to best serve the community members and patients receiving care and attention. And I would be honored to work with NACHW and all of you on these efforts moving forward. Thank you so much for this honor.
Greetings, my name is Atara Estes, and I am a credentialed CHW instructor for the state of Missouri. I would bring a shared vision and passion for the community health workers workforce. Each state is needing something different, but we all are witnessing and are experiencing trauma. My expertise in trauma-informed care and holistic health and wellness, and I bring my lived experience with a mission of trauma awareness to all communities on how to live again with a health equity lens.
If you're a candidate and you're in the room, can you please stand up? There you have them. Identify them. Please go and talk to them, get to know them. And we're excited to see who is going to be taking the seats. And thank you so much for this part of our meeting today. Now we have lunch. Lunch boxes are going to be served here today. I think they're in the back. Not sure. Somebody tell me. Yes? All right. Lunch is here, please. So we have 1 hour for lunch. Thank you.